Got some news for you. You are allowed to do good work, and you're allowed to do good work on Sunday. You're allowed to help people, and you're allowed to work hard to help other people on Sunday, what we would call the Lord's Day, that the New Testament calls the Lord's Day. And many of you know my own personal thought is that as we celebrate and remember the Lord's Day, which is Jesus' resurrection from the dead, all of the principles of the Sabbath commandment held in the Ten Commandments that was applied to Saturday is transferred to Sunday, the Lord's Day, because Jesus is the Lord of the Sabbath, and he's allowed to even move the day if he wants to. And some of the principles on how we should celebrate and spend the first day of the week, the Lord's Day, on Sunday, is that we're allowed to do we're allowed to do good work, and we're allowed to do good hard work. Again, remember the basic principle underneath how to even observe the first day of the week is anchored in the principle that Jesus said in yesterday's reading. What was that principle? That God desires mercy and not sacrifice. Mercy is what God wants, not sacrifice. So you want to understand the purpose of the actual rule and the purpose of the actual rule of the Sabbath that I would then say is transferred to the Lord's Day. I know not everybody follows that exact line of reasoning, but that the purpose of the Lord's Day, the purpose of the Christian Sabbath, if you want to say that, is to rest and to worship. Rest and worship. That's what you're called to do. Rest and worship. And you dedicate that day unto the Lord, and you observe it in the way that is fitting to your own conscience and your own heart. The way you'll celebrate it's going to be different the way I celebrate it. The way that a doctor has to celebrate it because they're working on Sundays is going to be different than somebody else that works Monday through Friday, and it's a kind of set schedule. It's going to be different than me, who is a pastor, who is obviously working on Sunday. So let's look at a test case on Jesus. So Jesus went on from there, and he entered their synagogue, the place where the Jews gathered to it's a gathering place. That's what the word synagogue means in Greek. Gathering place, a synagogue. And a man was there with a withered hand. And they asked him, Jesus, these religious leaders, is it lawful for us to heal on the Sabbath? Can we make people better on the Sabbath? You think that's a foolish, silly thing to do. Of course you can. So that they might accuse him. They're wanting to blame him. And then Jesus said, which one of you who has a sheep, if it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not take hold of it and lift it out? Of course you will. There was actually laws that are saying, hey, it's okay for you to do this. It's okay for you to do good to animals. How much more value is a man than a sheep? So it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. You're allowed to work on the Sabbath. You're allowed to do good to other people on the Lord's Day, on the Christian Sabbath, on Sunday. Then he said to the man, stretch out your hand. So Jesus, he heals the man. And the man stretched it out, and it was restored, healthy like the other. But the Pharisees went out because they're all grumping and all upset with Jesus because they did not understand that principle that God desires mercy and not sacrifice. The Pharisees wanted us to have a laborious, hard, rigid understanding and following of the law. They didn't want to be merciful in the way Jesus was. And we have to remember that as we are celebrating the Lord's Day ourselves. Don't cast judgments on other people on how they celebrate the Sabbath. You celebrate the Lord's Day as the Lord has pressed upon your heart. You just follow these two basic principles that Pastor Josh is putting in front of you. Rest a little bit if you can. Rest and worship. Rest and worship. Dedicate the day unto the Lord and spend it resting and worshiping. And the Lord stretched out his hand, or the man stretched it out, and it was restored healthy like the other. But the Pharisees went out and conspired against him how to destroy him. I pray that's been a blessing to you. I'll see you in the next video.